Hi, lovelies. Okay, so Gene Key number 50. I don't have the card with me. Um, Here it is in the book, if you can see it. So I'll read the gift from Gene Key 50, which the gift is equilibrium, the shadow is corruption, and the city is harmony. So my gift to you. Equilibrium is here to bring you a vision of a new world where peace, harmony, and collaboration prevail. In you, equilibrium sees a potential for inner peace, a gift for bringing equilibrium and balance to any group of which you're a part of. To ignite these gifts, you must first be willing to put all of your hidden agendas on the table. Own and take responsibility for your ulterior motives, and your self-trust will grow. With self-trust, you can create the safe space necessary for others to face and embrace their own shadows. This is how to co-create a truly peaceful world. There is a self-organizing intelligence that naturally arises when people are empowered to be who they are and are encouraged to contribute passionately to the ever-evolving whole. Remember to be playful. What's the point of a new world if we can't enjoy it? So, equilibrium. This is, I found this, I really had to contemplate this gene key and the shadow side of it, of corruption, for quite a while. This really impacts our social structure, like us as less. It focuses on the individual, but it also holds us as a whole, as a community, as a collective. So if we look at the shadow of corruption, first, I'd like to invite you to look at corruption through the way of, if we think a data gets corrupted on our computer, if you go to open a document and something's happened and now the words look different, the pictures look funny. So first we want to start looking at corruption through that way, in the same way that data gets corrupted. Because when we think of corruption, that is quite a hot topic for humans, right? And we start to think about the government's corrupted, that system's corrupted, all of these different billionaire companies are corrupted, right? And it gets us heated. It no longer is it gets to be to us on a personal level. So let's start thinking about corruption as data corruption. And what this actually is that it is an incorrect translation of what we are taking in. So our systems are our world, most of our world, the majority of our world, is based on this hierarchical structure. And you see this in mammals, right? You see this, there's an alpha, there's an animal that is leading the pack most of the time. And humans still operate on this hierarchical structure. And through our social system, in our hierarchy, laws have been developed to keep this hierarchy in place. But as soon as we create a law, and I love this, how Richard Rudd put this, as soon as a law is created, a rebel is also created, because there's going to be someone that doesn't agree with that law. And what happens when these laws are created in this hierarchical way, because most of the time these laws are created by those that exist up here, right? This creates division among humans because it supports the idea of comparison, of comparing individuals, comparing small groups of individuals, right? We see that everywhere we look. We see comparison. And that comparison then leads to greed, jealousy, and eventually into corruption. So when data is corrupted, when the shadow is of corruption is active, the reason that data gets corrupted is because we're taking information in through a lens of fear. And that leads to this skewed perspective of our world, of an individual. If we are holding the frequency of fear, and whatever kind of fear that is, we then see things through our personal lens of fear. So we're seeing what's going on, and then we've got our past history that comes into the forefront for us, and then that is then reflected through our lenses, and we see whatever is in front of us through our past experience. And generally, when we're seeing something through the lens of fear, that then shifts what we're seeing in front of us. Because everyone, have you ever gotten into a discussion with someone that you're having an upset with, and they saw what happened as one way and you saw what happened as another way? Everyone has those different perspectives. Everyone, because we are all individuals and we all have a history and a past that is influencing our present. So what happens when things are interpreted through that lens of fear from our past is that there's the misinterpretation that happens. We see things, they're skewed. And then there's a reaction to that misinterpretation. There's a reaction to that fear. And then the other party sees, so we have party number one, person number one, who is witnessing something here, and they're seeing it through a lens of fear that is then misinterpreted, and then they react. Then party number two sees the reaction of this person. They're witnessing it through a lens of fear. It is misinterpreted, and then they react. And this is the cycle that pretty much our entire world is in. We are living in fear and we react. Fear, reaction. Fear, reaction. So, this gift of equilibrium is about bringing, it's about foreseeing this. So it's always first, whenever we're trying to change something, it's about seeing this. So seeing this loop that happens, whether it's out in the world, in the media, in our politicians, where we can see it, or whether it's personally in your relationships, seeing this cycle, fear into reaction, fear, misinterpretation, reaction. That's always the first step. We can't change anything until we start noticing it. And the thing about this, the idea of equilibrium and the shadow of corruption, is that it's all about the individual as a part of the whole. It's about how the individual is in the whole, and it's about how the whole is supporting the individual. And these two things are what needs to be balanced, where we need to find equilibrium. So the shadow of corruption supports hierarchy. And the gift of equilibrium supports this idea of heterarchy, which is a social model that supports the idea that if an individual is not balanced, then the whole cannot be balanced. And that the whole supports the individual to become an actualized human being, to feel balanced and whole within themselves. So the social structure, the collective is working for the individual. Because if we have, it's like a line of Christmas lights, right? If one light goes out, I mean, I don't know, maybe they've figured this out by now, but when I was a kid, right, it was like if one light goes out, you have to check and see the whole strand of light goes out. And so then you have to check and see which light that it is that's actually burnt out. So it's the same idea, this heterarchy structure. It's like if one individual is out of balance, that impacts the whole. So instead of blaming, forcing, creating laws to stop those types of individuals, those lights that burn out, let's say the red lights burn out, we actually look at, how can we support these red lights to stay lit so that all of us work together? So at the end of the day, really all we can do is how we show up in the world. That's really all we can do. And not in a way of like saying that's all I can do, but going like, this is where my power lies. My power as a part of this collective whole is finding balance within myself and noticing these things that are out of balance, and how do I contribute to them? Because if we sit here going, that person's reacting out of fear, that person's reacting out of fear, we're then just doing the same thing. The more we can support ourselves to find balance and harmony inside, the more we can then support others to find balance and harmony in themselves, and then the more the collective whole will find balance and harmony. So I'm going to leave you with that for the 50th gene key, the shadow of corruption and the gift of equilibrium. And I'm super curious how that all lands for you. So let me know if you feel called.